Welcome to the Insurance Producers Podcast, where we bring you the top personalized producers, insurance agents, and industry partners, giving you at least 3 takeaways to 10x your production and build your multi-million-dollar revenue books. So sit back, relax, and become inspired by the success stories and strategies of the world's top insurance minds. Let's roll. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Insurance Producers Podcast. Hey, this is a special episode for me because I've gotten to know this individual for the last probably 3 years now, and we were one of his, I wouldn't say his first agency, but one of his first agencies, because he's got a ton of people in his umbrella now, man. It's been so exciting to see this guy kind of flourish in the last 2 or 3 years. So without further ado, a lot of you guys know him, Tolga with Canopy Connect. How are you, buddy?
Appreciate you having me on, Cyrus. Doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, so Tolga is a founder and CEO of Canopy Connect. And man, it's been something that we have used on our agency for the last, 4 years, probably 3 or 4 years. Has been having so much success with it. So Tolga, man, welcome to the show. If you don't mind, really quick, why Canopy Connect for the insurance world really quick? And then we'll get rolling. So
sure. Yeah. I mean, why is, I spent my entire career working in startups, and after a little while, I started to feel like, well, I want to have my work, directly impact the people around me in a way that I could sort of more viscerally feel, and that's kind of what drew me to the overall like finance and then insurtech sort of landscape. I joined a fintech startup called Nova Credit that was helping consumers and individuals unlock fair access to credit through their foreign credit history. And I saw firsthand through joining that company and helping build them out and launch them in different countries that you could build this business where you make it easy for consumers to share critical information about them that helps a business understand them. And when they do that, the business, because they're getting this critical information that helps them understand the customer, the business is willing to pay for that. The startup can make money, and the consumer ultimately saves a bunch of time and achieves a better financial outcome for themselves. So I really enjoyed that, and I we were building this company that was consumer permission data for credit information, and I started to think that what other information could we unlock to help consumers achieve better financial outcomes? And then around that time, just completely randomly, I spoke with an insurance agency owner who was telling me that she had been talking, she's described it as interrogating her prospects over the phone to get the information that she needed to put together a quote for them. And she would say it was like pulling teeth, asking them dozens of questions like, what's your VIN? What's your annual mileage? What are your premiums, limits, deductibles? And so about half of them were just dropping out of her funnel saying, I don't know, I don't have that information. Let me get back to you later. And they were just never getting back to her. And so she told me that she had started driving to their houses and showing them how to log into their online insurance accounts because, all of the information that she needed to provide them a competitive proposal and to see what they currently have and point out coverage gaps was there. And when she told me she was doing that, like actually going and driving to her clients' houses to show them how to log into their accounts, I thought if you're able to link your bank account, which at this point over a third of Americans have linked their bank account, whether they're realizing it or not, to apps like Venmo and PayPal and Rocket Money and all of these fintech apps that like help you manage your finances and plan and see what's going on with your finances. These all connect to your bank account. And I thought, well, if you can connect your bank account to get services as a consumer, why can't you connect your insurance account? And that's what we set out to build. And it really all comes back to just if we can make it as easy and fast and secure as possible for a consumer to work with a business, then that business ends up benefiting in turn. And then, we sell this infrastructure to businesses that helps them work with consumers the way that they want to work with them and share their information with businesses they want to share their information with.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
So
That's and when was that again, Toga's?
we founded in 2020, February 2020.
2020.
It's actually today is our, I think, our 4 year anniversary as a
Oh,
company.
nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. You guys have come such a long ways, man. It's been a lot of fun to see you succeed. My question to you then, so on top, so you got into the insurance side, you're kind of learning the basics of insurance and all of that stuff. And now you have obviously have a lot new stuff that's coming through on the Canopy Connect side. What has been, so for people that don't know, first of all, like what is Canopy Connect? Like, can you just, what does it do? What does it pull? How does the process go for somebody that has never seen it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, what Canopy Connect does in a nutshell is it's the easiest and fastest way to gain the visibility on the property and casualty insurance profiles of your clients or your prospects. And traditionally, what agents were doing were getting on the phone with a prospect and just asking them a bunch of questions, doing a bunch of discovery, right? And the problem with that is that people don't know their VIN numbers and how much they're paying and what their premiums are and their limits, their deductibles, and they often don't even know all the policies they have, and they don't know what a deck page is. And so, getting all that visibility on your prospects is really challenging. And not only are prospects dropping out of the funnel before they even get to a quote, about half of them are dropping out of a standard insurance funnel before they even get to a quote. Um, but even once they bind you don't have the full visibility into what they actually
Hmm.
have. And so
Hmm.
that's what we solve is, we come in and an agent can go to a prospect and say, hey, I have this link, it's going to save us both 30 minutes on our call today. You can log in with your carrier on this link, and I'll be able to provide you a comprehensive policy review and point out any gaps that I'm seeing to make sure that you have the right insurance in place for you. And if you're already perfectly all set up, then I'll tell you that too. But most of the time when I do these reviews, there are things that you're going to want to change, and I can point those out for you. And does that work for you? It'll take 20 to 30 seconds to submit on this link, and then they'll say, yeah, sure, and they text the link, and the prospect goes on their phone, they click the link, log in, and in 6 seconds, the agent is able to see their insurance account and what policies they have, their premiums, limits, deductibles, coverages, insured assets, drivers, loss events, deck pages. So they have that full visibility to jump into positioning themselves as the trusted advisor for the prospect and pointing out gaps in their coverage right away. They don't need to ask what vehicles you have. You don't need to ask details about their property. You see all that visibility right at a glance.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, perfect. That's what I wanted to make sure. So in our office, I was just talking to Toga before this. So in February was our highest polls that we had for Canopy Connect, and we kind of wanted to set a record. So we kind of have a little challenge for the end of the month to be able to get the most Canopy Connect polls. And so yeah, what we do for some people from the agency side of things that has really worked for us for our agency is our agents send it to them. And this morning in our Monday morning meeting, we had an agent that was like, well, they seem to like not want to do it because, and I was like, well, it's probably what you're saying to them. If you tell somebody, hey, this is a secured link that's going to send me your coverages and deductibles so I can make sure that you're properly covered. And then I can give you an apples to apples comparisons with some of my entities, some of my companies that I have. Then you can take it and compare between the two. And then I can tell you which direction to head. So I think it's just the way you say it to the consumer as well. So we've been working on that quite a bit to make sure that the consumers do understand. Now, this was 5 years ago, would have been a different story, man. Today, no, I would imagine there's probably at least a 30% more people that have logins, online logins and stuff from even 5 years ago now, I would assume. So everybody knows their logins. This is it's becoming extremely common, right? Toga, I'm assuming you're hearing that a lot more.
Yeah, it's certainly become more and more common. I think the biggest thing that really paved the way was when people started connecting their bank accounts to things, because your bank account is for most people, their most sensitive account. You can move money in and out of that thing. And so once consumers started doing that, and they started seeing how they were getting access to better financial services and products and experiences through that infrastructure. It not only made set the expectation that, oh, if I connect my accounts to things, then I can get more intelligent services. I don't need to download documents and
Mm-hmm.
fax and email stuff. I mean, by the way, fax and email, like the traditional way that people are moving around documents, that's not secure. Documents end up getting left in people's devices, their
Mm-hmm.
phones, their desktops, on servers. And so, if you're able to instead make access be given via a cloud a cloud provider where access can be revoked, that's a much more secure way to do things. And there's also just businesses that we're also just seeing this increase in regulatory scrutiny around data security practices. And so,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, you're seeing now dealerships are required to, be FTC safeguards compliant, and so they have to have, they can't be leaving around documents on devices like that anymore. And so, all of this stuff is kind of coming together, and consumers are also just understanding that they can take control of their data this way. And so, all of that stuff, I think, paved the way for this. And
Yeah, it's awesome.
you're going to see like people connecting their bank accounts, insurance accounts, their utilities, all, uh, we're in this sort of era of connected accounts now broadly.
Yeah, and it makes life a lot easier. And I say to our team all the time, honestly, man, when you're shopping somebody around, if they're not telling you, they could tell you like, oh, I pay $120 a month for car insurance, and then you look at their deck page, they're literally paying like 190. Like you're losing so many times when the consumer thought he was paying 120 because they looked at it 7 months ago and now they're paying 190 and they have no idea because not everybody looks at their stuff on a monthly basis. And I tell
Yeah,
our guys all the time, man, I'm like, dude, you literally have everything in your hand to be you have more power than anybody else when you have their deck pages, their deductibles, because a lot of times they're like, no, I have $1,000 deductible. I'm like, well, let's see your deck page. Yeah, you have $1,000 deductible for all peril, but in the bottom it says right there, it says 2% for wind and hail. And they have
right.
no idea. And that's a USAA. We lose to USAA quite a bit because of that model, because they think they have $1,000 deductible and they have no idea. So honestly, having that, like, it's almost like ammo in your back pocket, man. Like, you're going to be able to close a lot more deals if you know exactly what you're dealing with. I almost feel like when I was producing, this was been 4 years, like, I never wanted to send somebody a rate without knowing like what I'm dealing with. Like,
Right.
am I dealing with somebody that like is completely price driven? Like, do I need to go down deep and make sure to give them what they need? Or am I dealing with somebody that really cares about coverage and we're going to go line by line and all that stuff? It makes a difference, man. For me, it did at the time. And for our guys now, when you have exactly where you need to be, and you get the value and all that stuff that you provide on top of what you have all that stuff on the back. I mean, our conversion ratio, we looked at it this morning, is 23% higher when we use a Canopy Connect as an agency versus on the times that we don't, which is
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah, it's that, like, being able to see what they have, it allows you to actually move away from the price-based sale, right? Like if they're just chasing the price, then they're going to end up losing. You're going to end up, even if you win them today, you're going to lose them in the future just based on
Mhm.
that price number, right? But because you have the full visibility to their account, you're able to position yourself as their advisor. You could point out gaps in their coverage. Maybe the limits aren't correct. Maybe the deductible is too high. Maybe they need an umbrella policy, or they should consider that because they don't already have one. And so, by being able to have those types of conversations, which you can actually have with the full visibility coming from
Uh-huh.
the source of truth, now not only do they trust the information that you're providing them, but they also trust the advice that's coming based off of that information, and try to get that out of the prospect. Most agents, they it's actually kind of astounding. They all use like the same phrase, which is like it's like pulling teeth. So,
Hmm.
um, and from the prospects perspective too, they also just expect nowadays an easier process because their expectations have been set from using apps and online services and on-demand things like Uber and Instacart. And so consumers just expect it for you to make it as easy as possible for them to, otherwise they lose interest or they go elsewhere. And so it's not only about getting that full visibility, but also about making it easy for your prospects to work with you the way that they want to work with you. There's a lot of people that just don't want to get on the phone to be interrogated by you. They'll get on the phone with you to hear your advice, but they don't want to get on the phone to just be like taking a test and being asked a bunch of exam questions, right? So instead, if you're able to remove that part of the process and just, you know, take the discovery away by sending out a link and collecting the information directly from the source of truth, then you're jumping right into the advisory conversation. And that's where you're building rapport and value with your prospect.
Yeah. And
We're
time.
also seeing like agents use it to round out their book and use it for retention and increasing their average policies per client. So we had a few months ago, a couple of months ago, we were at a conference and met with one of our Allstate mega agency customers. He was telling us that he's sending out his Canopy Connect link to his existing clients and offering them the comprehensive free policy review of their other insurance policies that he's not managing. And what he's doing is offering them not only a review, but also, hey, I can offer you to bundle that insurance with me and see if we can save you money.
Mm.
And so he's using the Canopy Connect link to gain visibility into these accounts that he's not managing, and then he's able to propose a bundle to them and capture those accounts as well, increasing his average policies per client and revenue. And he grew his retention by 30% that way.
Wow. That's impressive. That's awesome. So one other thing that I wanted to make sure I point out, when me and you were talking, I know we had a conversation last week as well, that
Mm-hmm.
with with Canopy Connect, I think one of the biggest things that we have learned is the more agents do it, the better it is long term for our industry as a whole. And the reason I say that is because I think transparency is the best policy. I think to be able to know, hey, you do have a 2% wind and hail. Everybody isn't playing the same ballpark. You get a lot of these agents that hide some of these things. A lot of these companies are selling
Mm-hmm.
actual cash value policies and things like that. A
Yep.
lot of people have a hard time getting like personal articles policy, like rings and stuff. Well, that's already on the deck page, man. Like you don't have to like, that's like pulling teeth, right? Like asking somebody, hey, what kind of ring does your wife have? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like really? Like getting all that stuff, all that documentation to come through, man. I think to make it easy for the consumer, I think moving forward from now on, like with AI and technology and ease of use and all that stuff, man, no one's going to want to work with you if you're going to call somebody and say, hey, I'll give you a quote, but I need your VIN numbers. I need your driver's license. I need your wife's this. I need that. I need this. I need this. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to shop around. I think that's one of the reasons, like the captives, I know we have a lot of captives that listen to it. One of the advantage they have, Toga, is like, they're just like, you know what, like this is like State Farm, for example. Like I have State Farm. I call my agent and I do all that stuff. And I don't need to like go shop around a lot of other places. And they have told me it's a nightmare to get quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a nightmare to get quotes because the captives have been telling them for a long time. And I used to be captive, so I used to say this all the time. I'm like, well, do you want to spend a couple of days shopping around? Like this is it's really hard to get insurance quotes. It was at least 5 years ago. With you and a lot of other technology things coming into our world, it's made it really easy to get quotes these days. But the consumer still thinks that it's pulling teeth just getting insurance quotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and for a lot of agencies, it's and a lot of, a lot of prospecting workflows, it is still a lot of work, and even in like certainly the industry has come a ways, but it's still really hard to get it's hard to get an accurate quote. It's hard to get a bindable quote still, online. So a lot of those problems still are there, but certainly, technology platforms like this, they help gain that visibility upfront in the funnel, which then allows you to not only get to an accurate code, but a bindable one. And that certainly helps a lot. And it helps you just, avoid also just things like running MVRs for prospects that, you can find out right in the early in the funnel that they actually have a quite an extensive loss history and might not make sense for you.
100%. Toga, so you do have some new enhancements with Canopy Connect that are coming into, and then I think a lot of producers. Is there two or three things that could you share, or is there some things that is in the hopper that you would like to tell the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So, so a couple of things that we recently released. Uh, Commercial insurance. We released that in sometime last year, but we've been doing a lot of work recently to enrich additional data fields in there, and so you're going to see a lot more structured information come through our commercial insurance integrations. And for those that don't know, we do not only uh, connect and pull personal PNC insurance policies, but we do commercial PNC as well. So, commercial auto, Bob, GL, workers' comp, etc. Um, and that's been a major focus area for us. We're launching a kind of an intake V2 over the next quarter or so. So I'll be able to share more over the next few weeks around that. But that's coming out. Our existing customers are just going to get that added into their account. So for anybody that's like thinking about joining or is an existing customer, you're going to see those features pop up in your accounts, and I'll be able to share more over the
That's
coming
awesome.
weeks. That's a big area for us, and for agencies that are experiencing a lot of servicing headaches as well. We're building some new capabilities around that. So for anybody who wants to talk to us and make sure that your pain points around just servicing your existing book every day, all the manual mundane tasks that you do, uh, reach out to hello@usecanopy.com, and we'd love to chat with you and make sure that we're accounting for your headaches as we build out some solutions in that area too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I would say there's not a lot of, and Canopy Connect by no means is a small company anymore. But I would say, there's not a lot of time. I was with somebody yesterday or last week. I was having a conversation. He was just looking into insurance and somehow found Quotamation, one of my tech companies, and he just says, "Okay, I'm interested," or whatever. We did a demo, and I hopped on. He goes, "Oh, you're the CEO. You hopped on to talk to me about your technology." I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I like talking to people. I like doing demos. I like to get my hands dirty, man. I want to understand what's going on." And he goes, "That's kind of that. I never thought that you would hop on. Same thing with you, Toga. Like, you're very easy to talk to. Like, I've talked to you probably like 10 times, and a lot of these CEOs are not like you've asked for feedback from a lot of agencies. You've reached out to us and said, "Hey, I'm interested in some feedback from you guys." So what I'm telling all the producers and all the agents listening, hey, listen, man, this is a company that truly wants to solve a problem, a headache that you have inside of your agency. And every day he's talking to agents to figure out how can we simplify things for you to be able to do your job at a faster, more efficient way. So I would say, man, that's been really fun. That like I was like at first I'm like, oh, Toga, like we can't get a hold of Toga, no way. But like you can get a hold of the Toga. Now I'm not telling everybody to go get a hold of Toga, but it's really cool that not even your team sometimes, like you have reached out to some agents and say, hey man, I would love some feedback. We just met last week, and Toga's like, hey, tell me a little bit about what's going on. Hey, I'm looking at this. What do you think of this on the agency side of things? So
Yeah.
I give you props for that, man. That's pretty cool that a company like yours, doing that.
Hey, likewise. I mean, you totally do the same, Cyrus. So right back at you. But I think that's every business owner's got to be talking to their customers every day. It doesn't matter what business you're in, So so that talking to customers, and hearing their problems, that's the truth of what's going on in the world. Everything that you read in headlines or reports or whatever is noise
Yeah,
compared to that. So we
that's
love it.
That's awesome, man. So Toga, what if somebody wants to use Canopy Connect, how does the process go? How can they sign up? Who can they reach out to? Is there
Yeah.
like a trial period or whatever that you guys are doing? Like what's going on? How can they reach out or how can they do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at usecanopy.com, usecanopy.com. We make it really easy for agents to sign up. So we have monthly plans with 14-day trials and annual plans with a discount for annual billing. Um, do commercial and personal lines. You can sign up for the for an account on there, and we highly recommend you talk to us as well. We love to run an onboarding with agents that we sign up and make sure that we're showing you how to use the product and how other agents like you are using it. Based on whether you're captive or independent and size of agency and the way that you target, we'd love to provide guidance specific to you. So for anybody who signing up, go ahead and book an onboarding call with us, and we'd love to talk to you. But yeah, that's the best way to reach us. You can also reach us at hello@usecanopy.com. Yeah, that's the best way to reach us.
That's cool, man. Well, hey, Toga, I appreciate you, man. Last question for you, unless you want to share anything else about Canopy to the producers and the agents across the country.
Last thing that I want to share, you said?
If you have anything last comments, any last things you wanted to share.
Well, I think we're like in an interesting place right now in the market. I've been seeing some rumblings just on social media and LinkedIn. Some people saying the personal lines market is coming back, which I think is interesting. But either way, I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty today. So I think the things that agents should be looking at is look at your process from an outsider's perspective, from a prospect's perspective. What is it like what is it like for a prospect to go and get quotes from you, or to to get their ID card? What are these key these moments where you interact with your prospect? What do they look like from their perspective? And try to think, how can I make it easier for the the prospect to for me to work with them the way that they might want to work with me. So providing options to your prospect and customers, and making it not just a phone number to call, but like ways for them to self-service, or to in the case of Canopy Connect, link their account instead of filling out a long form. And I think another sort of area that's worked really well for agents is these referral partnerships. So if you don't already have them, I mean, a lot of the more successful agencies already have these in place, so it won't be news to them. But go and strike up relationships with realtors, auto dealerships, businesses in your community that are that can link back traffic your way. And the way that you can do this is make it easy for them to share their insurance information with you while they're interacting with that referral. You can do that through a shareable link. Those are a few things that I would take a look at. There's a big theme around reducing data entry now too. So businesses are looking at how can we do more with less, and avoid doing all these keystrokes. So look for when you're evaluating vendors to pick, try to look for solutions that connect with the other tools that you might be using as well.
That's awesome.
So that you can eliminate that data entry.
Absolutely, man. So you got a lot going on, man. Obviously growing really fast. You guys got some new things that are happening. How does Toga, man, individually Toga, like how does our podcast used to be called Win the Day. How does he win the day, man? You're running a successful company. You got a lot of things going on. Like what are one or two things that you do on a daily basis, man, that keeps you driven to do certain things and being able to consider a day one?
That's a great question. I think exercising regularly, if that's not happening, it's really hard to feel like you've won a day or like week. If that's not sort of regularly happening, doesn't mean you need to exercise necessarily every single day, but just having that be a regular part of your routine. Sleep is definitely something I haven't mastered. I still love just like staying up late and working on stuff. I think I was up to like 5 yesterday, so that's definitely not something I've mastered, but I think it's important to master over time. And then just, having consistent time with family. I've got like a 1.5-year-old, so I make sure to spend some quality time with her every day. And that's just, that's really important as well, to feel like you've won the day.
Yeah, that's cool, man. A lot of people will probably ask you about like just accolades and the new company and all the success that you've had, man. But I never knew that, which is shame on me, that you had a 1.5-year-old. What's that been like, man? How is that?
Oh, it's
How
been
is that
amazing. It's the
adjustment?
best thing
Yeah.
ever. It's
Yeah.
better. It's better than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be great. So, I mean, if that's saying
Yeah.
something, and I feel like everybody would tell you that, everybody, kids would tell you probably something
Yeah.
similar. It's just been absolutely amazing. Makes me laugh every day, and it's just the best.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I always say, man, you truly don't know the true meaning of love until you have kids, because it's
For
just a
sure.
different
Yeah.
love. It's a completely different love, man. It's like no matter what, like they do, and you got like poop on your hands, on your face, and you're like, I still love you. It's okay. Like we'd never say that, you know. So,
Yeah, it's
uh,
like the best thing, all they got to do is say like "dada" and laugh and
that's
smile, and
it.
you're just like the happiest you could ever be,
Yeah,
So it's a pretty
that's
magical
awesome,
thing.
man. And it's your daughter, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Right? That's cool, man. Well, hey, congratulations, man. I appreciate you being on the podcast, and it's late in the day here now, so I'm sure you're heading out soon to hang out with your daughter, man. I appreciate you taking some time with us, man. If you're looking for Canopy Connect, please reach out, man. These guys are incredible. We've used them for, like I said, 3-4 years. All my agencies use them, so please reach out. And Toga, man, really, really appreciate you, man. Would love to have you on again. Okay.
thank you, Cyrus. I appreciate it. Would love
All
to.
right, brother. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for being on.